Hello everybody, this is Lauren Harpster from Bead and Blossom. I am back today with more of lesson 4. We've been talking about fringe, and this part of the lesson we're going to be talking about the wire-back fringe, which is a little bit different from the twisted fringe that we learned in the previous part of this lesson. Now what sets this technique apart from all of the other French beading techniques is that our wire is going to pass through the beads twice. Now because the wire has to pass through the beads twice, you need to have a size of wire that will fit through your beads twice. And for a size 11 seed bead, that's usually going to be a 28 gauge wire. And just like all the previous techniques that we've done so far, this is another continuous technique, so we'll be making all of these fringes all on one length of wire. The sample pattern that we're going to be working with to learn the wire-back fringe is going to be 8 10 bead fringes. So first we need to cut wire from our spool. We're going to cut about 14 inches for this one. Because the beads are passing through, the wire is passing through your beads twice, you will not pre-string any beads. You'll string beads just for one fringe at a time. So I'm going to start with the first 10 beads, add them to my wire. And I'm going to move them about 2 inches away from the end of my tail wire here, my starting tail wire. And then I'm going to move this top bead out of the way. We're going to skip this bead. And we're going to take the working end of our wire and we're going to pass it down through the 9 beads below. And then I'm going to grab hold of those beads and the starting tail wire with my thumb and forefinger and this finger here, just to hold it tight so when I pull my working wire through, it won't move around. And that will catch that top bead and position it right at the tip of your fringe. So that is the first fringe. And now we need to add 10 more beads to the working end of our wire. And this time I'm going to turn my fringe at about a 90-degree angle away from the first one. This just helps me get the fringe as close as possible so there won't be any wire gap between them when I'm done. And then again I'm going to move that top bead out of the way, because I don't want to go through that one. That's going to act like a little stopper bead at the top. And then I'm going to pass my working wire down through the 9 beads below. And then to make sure that this second fringe doesn't move out of the way, I'm going to pinch and hold that fringe, the new fringe, along with the first fringe together between my thumb and forefinger. And then I'm going to pull on the working end of the wire, which is going to pull that first bead into position right at the tip of the fringe. And then you can bend that up right beside the other one. So again, I'm going to add 10 beads. "90-degree angle. Pull out the first one. Put my working wire down through the bottom 9 beads. Pinch and hold that fringe together with the previous fringe, and then pull the working wire through. So I've got 3, I need 5 more. So I need just one more fringe to complete my set. Ten beads, 90-degree angle, skip the first bead, oops, down through the bottom 9, hold them together, pull the working wire, and then you can bend it back up into position. Now, just like the continuous loops, most of the time you're going to be closing these into a circle. So again, cross the longer tail wire over between the first and second fringes. And then I'm going to center this one. So I'm going to go across the bottom and loop around one of the fringes on the other side, making sure that I'm down below that last bead at the bottom. And then I can twist the two wires together near the center. And there we have the wire-back fringe. Alright, so in the previous video I demonstrated the wire-back fringe, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work with really long wire-back fringes because it is a little bit different, or at least I do it a little bit differently to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to string, let's go with about 1.5 inches here. 1.5 inches of beads, and I want my fringe to be that long. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move that top bead out of the way. Oop, okay. Instead of trying to shove this wire all the way down through all of these beads, which can sometimes make your wire really kinky at the end, I'm going to lay my working wire flat against the wire right above the fringe. And then I'm actually going to slide my beads onto the wire. Alright, now we've got our beads now. They're positioned a lot farther away from the starting tail wire than we like them to be. In order to be able to move them back down, I need my working wire to have a little bit more slack in it. So I'm going to pull that down to about the point where I want my fringe to be situated at the end. And then I can move my fringe beads back down to where I want them to be. And then I can pull the working wire tight to pull that top bead into position at the top. Alright, so let me show you that again. I'm going to string another 1.5 inches of beads. And then I'm going to move that top bead out of the way. And I'm going to fold the working wire on itself and position the tip of it right above the beads in my fringe. And then I'll just slide the beads up onto the wire. And you do want to pinch that working wire pretty close to the wire above the fringe so that they stay together all the way through the beads. And then I can slide those up a little bit, pull the working wire down past that first fringe so that you know it's not going to come out. And then we're going to move the fringe back down. And then I'm going to pinch and hold. Because they're long, I can't pinch and hold the entire fringe, but if you'll just pinch and hold the two bottoms together, that should be a good enough job to be able to hold them together. And then, oops, I've got a little kink there. And then you can pull that working wire through. All right, let's see, one more time. Measure out our beads. Bring them down. pull out the top bead, fold the working wire on itself, and lay it flat right above the beads in the fringe. Pinch and hold those together while you slide the beads up onto the working wire. Got a couple beads on here that don't want to go through twice. Okay. And then I'm going to pull that working wire down. Now I don't have a lot of slack here, so I'm actually going to do this in increments now. I'm going to move it a little bit down and then pull my working wire a little bit more until I'm past that second fringe. And then I can slide them all the way down. And this is where it really matters, is when you slide them down. This is where the 90-degree angle matters. It doesn't matter so much when you're first lining it up, but when right before you pull it tight is when you want that 90-degree angle. Pull it tight. And there we have 3 long wire back fringes.